The year 2026 began like any other, calm and ordinary, but beneath the surface something ancient had awakened. I was just an average person, living a quiet life, until the dream started. Every night, I saw the same shadow standing at the foot of my bed. It had no face, yet it spoke clearly, and it knew my name. I had never told anyone about these dreams, yet the voice whispered my full name with perfect familiarity. On the seventh night, I woke up to find words carved into my bedroom wall. "We see you." From that moment, reality began to unravel. Streetlights flickered when I passed. Dogs howled at my presence. My reflection in mirrors lagged a second behind my movements. Fear was no longer just an emotion, it was watching me. News reports spoke of rising disappearances across the city, always near places I had recently been. People began avoiding me, their eyes filled with unease. I realized that fear itself was becoming intelligent, learning patterns, learning names. And somehow, I was at the center of it. By the end of January 2026, I understood one horrifying truth. Fear had chosen me as its anchor in the world. And once fear learns your name, it never forgets. By mid-2026, the city had transformed into a place of quiet terror. Screams echoed at night. Yet by morning there was no sign of struggle, no blood, no broken doors, no witnesses. Official reports labeled them as unexplained vanishings. I noticed a pattern others didn't. Every missing person had crossed paths with me days before they vanished. A bus driver, a shopkeeper, a neighbor. One by one, they disappeared as if erased. Guilt consumed me, but fear fed on it. An abandoned hospital stood at the heart of the city, closed suddenly without explanation. Locals whispered that shadows moved inside its windows. When I finally entered, I found names scratched into the walls, hundreds of them. Every name belonged to someone who had vanished in 2026. At the very center of the building, carved deeper than all others, was my name. That was when I understood the city wasn't cursed. The city was a feeding ground, and fear was using me as the key to unlock it. The clock came from my grandfather, an antique said to be priceless. In 2026, it began stopping every night at exactly 3:17 a.m. At that moment, the air froze, and whispers filled the room. When the clock stopped, I saw visions, burning streets, mass graves, a future soaked in terror. Each vision ended with me standing alone, surrounded by shadows chanting my name. I tried destroying the clock, but every crack healed itself. Research revealed others in history had owned it. Every one of them died in 2026 like cycles decades apart. The clock wasn't measuring time. It was collecting fear across generations. 2026 was the final cycle. When the clock completed its harvest, fear would no longer need humans. Time itself would belong to it. The shadows appeared everywhere, in alleys, behind doors, beneath streetlights. They mimicked human shapes, but lacked faces. Whenever I ran, they followed. Whenever I hid, they waited. A spiritualist told me these were echoes of people consumed by fear, their souls trapped between existence and terror. Fear had given them one task: protect me until the final moment. The worst realization came when I saw them in daylight, beneath people's feet. Everyone had a shadow, but theirs moved toward me. Fear was spreading, and I was its center. On December 31st, 2026, midnight never passed. The sky turned red. Electricity failed worldwide. Time froze. Doors opened simultaneously across the city, releasing shadows into the streets. They surrounded me, chanting my name like a ritual. This was the night fear would fully manifest, unless I chose to face it. The book appeared in my apartment without warning. It had no title, no author, and its pages were completely blank. I almost threw it away, but something about it felt heavy, unnaturally heavy, like it carried memories instead of paper. That night in 2026, I woke up to the sound of pages turning on their own. The next morning, words had appeared. They described my entire day in disturbing detail, where I would go, who I would meet, and who would die. I panicked, convinced it was coincidence, until every sentence came true. Accidents followed me like shadows. A man collapsed after making eye contact with me. A child screamed my name before disappearing into thin air. The more fear I felt, the faster the book wrote. its pages filled with blood-soaked descriptions of a city collapsing under terror. I learned the truth too late. The book wasn't predicting the future, it was creating it. Fear was using my reactions as ink. The final pages revealed the purpose of the book. Fear needed a witness. Someone to read, to believe, to be afraid. That someone was me. The last line shook my soul. When he stops fearing, we stop existing. The book closed itself, and for the first time, I realized fear could be starved. By late 2026, something far worse than death spread across the world. People began forgetting names. At first, it was small. Neighbors forgot each other. Parents hesitated before calling their children. Soon, people forgot their own identities. Panic followed. Hospitals filled with people screaming, not in pain, but confusion. Who am I? Became the most common question. Governments collapsed as leaders forgot their titles. Civilization unraveled, not through destruction, but erasure. Strangely, everyone remembered my name. Wherever I went, strangers stared at me with recognition mixed with terror. Doctors confirmed the impossible. Fear needed one name to survive. A single identity to anchor itself to reality. If my name disappeared, fear would collapse, but so would my existence. I would become nothing. The choice was cruel and final. Sacrifice myself to save humanity or let the world fade into nameless madness. Fear whispered constantly, begging me to hold on, promising power and survival. For the first time, fear sounded desperate. Sleep became my greatest enemy. Every dream I had in 2026 turned real the next day. If I dreamed of fire, buildings burned. If I dreamed of screams, cities mourned. Fear had hijacked my subconscious, turning imagination into a weapon. I tried staying awake for days, but exhaustion always won. The moment I slept, fear painted nightmares using my memories, my guilt, my deepest regrets. Each nightmare strengthened it. I realized fear couldn't act alone. It needed my mind. My dreams were the doorway. The more I fought sleep, the more violent the dreams became. Fear was punishing resistance. The solution was terrifying. I had to dream willingly, to enter the nightmare and confront fear within my own mind. If I lost control, reality would burn. If I won, fear would have nowhere left to hide. The truth was hidden in my family's past. Generations ago, my ancestors tried to control fear, believing it could be harnessed for protection. They performed rituals, sacrifices, experiments. Instead of controlling fear, they gave it consciousness. Every generation fed it until 2026, the year it would become independent. I wasn't chosen by accident. I was the final heir, the last vessel. Fear wasn't a demon. It was inheritance. And like all inheritance, it demanded payment. The only way to end it was to break the bloodline, end myself, or end fear through acceptance rather than resistance. Stopped running. I stopped fighting. I stood still and let fear surround me. For the first time, I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I spoke my own name aloud and accepted everything fear showed me. Death, loss, loneliness. Fear began to weaken. It fed on resistance, not acceptance. The shadows cracked. The whispers faded. At midnight, time moved forward again. The sky cleared. 2026 ended. Fear learned my name, but I taught it how to forget. And when fear forgot me, it finally died.